Welcome to Christ the King Church, Shelby, North Carolina's Healing Center.
Hi, welcome to Christ the King Church. I'm Melinda, Pastor Moore's daughter. I want to welcome you to the service today, but I want to take a moment and tell you about some of our services here at Christ the King through the week. On Sunday morning, from 10 to 10:30, we have Sunday school. At 10:45, we have communion, which is open to all baptized believers. At 11 o'clock, we start our worship service. At the end of our worship service, we have a time of ministry where our elders will anoint you with oil and pray over you for healing or whatever your need may be. On Wednesdays at 7 o'clock, we have our regular midweek service. On Thursday, this is our little special meeting that I want to take a moment and explain to you about. It's called our Healing Room Evening. It's from 6:30 to 8, and it's a time of teaching and ministry time. The teaching is from 6:30 to 7:30 because we believe that faith cometh by hearing and hearing by the Word of God. At 7:30 to 8, it's the ministry portion of it, in which we have a group of people that will pray over you for whatever your need may be it physically, financially, emotionally, mentally. Whatever you desire prayer for, they will come in agreement with you about. Also, if you do not have a specific need that you want prayer over, feel free to come and join us anyway from 6:30 to 7:30 during the teaching time. At this time, again, I would like to welcome you, and we will join the ministry now.
I want to read you something from in the book of Sirach, and it's chapter 38. My son, shed tears for one who is dead, and wail and bitter lament, as in only proper prepare the body. Absent not yourself from his burial, weeping bitterly, mourning fully, pay your tribute of sorrow as he deserves. Now listen, 1 or 2 days to prevent gossip. So you don't want people talking about you, so you go to the funeral and you sorrow for 1 or 2 days. Then compose yourself after your grief. For grief can bring on an extremely, and heartache destroys one's health. It's exactly what the doctor has said is happening to her. An aching heart is destroying her health. Turn not your thoughts to him again. That's after you're buried. Cease to recall him. Think rather of the end. Recall him not, for there is no hope of his return. It will not help him, but will do you harm. Remember that his fate will also be yours. For him, it was yesterday, for you tomorrow. With the departed dead, let memory fade. Rally your courage once the soul has left. That's where I was with our sister today, so we asked her, do you want to live or you want to go with your husband? And she said, well, I want to live right now for my grandbabies. I said, okay. I said, we'll believe God you're going to live. But praise the Lord anyway. This is Healing Rooms on Thursday evening at Christ the King Church. And I'm studying something, probably the result today of some visitations I've had today with some senior citizens. And this is what I want to teach you beginning in Psalms 92. I want to talk to you about living a vibrant life at any age. We read and hear a lot today of people living a vibrant, productive life, even in their senior years. So that's what I want to put into your spirit tonight, that it is possible for you to live a good life, a vibrant life, a productive life, even on into your senior years. Psalms 92, I want to read beginning in verse 12. Psalms 92, verse 12. The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. He shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon. Those that be planted in the house of the Lord shall flourish in the courts of our God. Those that be planted. I ministered to a lady today, she's 73 years old, and she does not belong to church, does not go to church. And of course her confession was there's too much politicking going on in the church. I sort of agree with that. But the thing about it is, if you see the church as the body of Christ, and if I was professing to be a Christian and was not a part of the body of Christ, I would begin to wonder why God did not want me to be a part of his body. And I was explaining to her, I said, you see what we're doing here? I said, I'm a pastor. This is your sister here in bed sick. I said, we're here to stand with her. We're here to support her. I said, church folk are praying for her. I said, this is the benefit. I said, now what's going to happen to you when you get like this? Who's going to show up for you? Who's going to be here to stand and pray for your family? You understand? So I believe a part of living a long life has to do with this scripture. It's being planted in the house of the Lord. Do you see that? That's verse 13. Those that be planted in the house of the Lord. Now we talk about planted. Do you understand what planted is? That means you're planted. That means you're not here on Thursday, then somebody uproots you and you're replanted over there on Sunday, and then you're uprooted and somebody replants you over here on Wednesday. No, no, no. You're planted. Wherever you're planted, there's where you grow, mature, there's where you should blossom. Now notice this verse. Those that be planted in the house of the Lord shall flourish in the courts of our God. They shall still bring forth fruit in, notice, old age. They shall be fat and flourishing. Praise the Lord. You can see around here who we're talking about here. To show that the rock, the Lord is upright, he is my rock, and there is no unrighteousness in him. So here, in Psalms 92, I think one of the keys here is we're learning to keep our thoughts on God and God-centered rather than age-centered. One of the things that I've learned to do is I don't think oldish thoughts. Amen. How many of you know age is just a number? There was a baseball player, I can't remember his first name, but they asked him, his last name was Page, P-A-G. Huh? Yeah. They asked him this question. How can you continue to play at your age? Now listen, this is his answer. He said, how old would you be if you didn't know how old you were? You need to write that down and meditate that right there. How old would you be if you didn't know how old you are? I don't think he's being smart. I think he's just giving them the answer to me. That's a good thought, isn't it? You think about, well, age is just a number. So if you really didn't know what your age is, how old would you be? How old would you think you'd be? Psalms 91. You're close by, just back up a moment. This is my confession, and it's my confession. It's my story, so I'm going to stick to this one. Is that okay? Psalms 92:16, with long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. My confession is, you've heard me say it, you've said it yourself, I'm going to live a long, satisfying life. I am going to live a long, satisfying life. That means that I'm still going to be vibrant in my age. As I mature in the Lord, I'm still going to be vibrant. I'm going to be productive. I'm going to still bear fruit in my old age. And I'll live until I'm satisfied. Are we okay with this? So, I believe it's God's will for us senior citizens, if you'd like to identify us as such. I think it's God's will for us to be active and vibrant at any age. Can you say amen? Age is just a number, so refuse to think oldish thoughts. Let me give you some spiritual thoughts. Now, it's going to help you, I believe. First of all, man is created in the image and likeness of God. These are things you've got to get settled if you want to live a good life and if you want to live a long, productive life. Man was created in the image and the likeness of God, and I don't know all that that entails, but I do know this. I do know that God is a spirit. I know if God created me in his image and his likeness, I am created a spirit being. I am spiritual. So, if I am spiritual, then what does age have to do with it? The Bible says, for as he thinks in his heart, so he is. That's Proverbs 23:7. For as he thinks in his heart, so he is. So a lot of it has to do with our thinking. This young lady today, she's 73 years old. I was trying to minister to her a little bit, and she was moaning and groaning, and I said, you know, you don't have to act like that. Well, I'm getting old. You know what happens to your body when you get old? I said, yeah. Mine's being renewed every day. I said, you don't have to act like that. I said, you're created in the image and likeness of God. Then I saw, now listen, this is the way it goes. You might as well get it settled. If you're dealing with carnal thinking people, you might as well leave them alone. Because you're sure not going to help them. There's no answer for carnal-minded people. You can't renew a carnal mind. You got to get rid of the sucker. You understand? And become spiritual-minded. So, you know, if you're trying to impart some spiritual truths to some people, it begins with they've got to understand who God is, and then they have to understand who they are. God is my creator. God is good. God created me in his image and after his likeness. That means that I am a spirit being. Like God, I am spiritual. Are you okay with that? So, to think about being created in the image and the likeness of God, I think it just means that I'm a reflection of God. We should be a reflection of God wherever we go. I was getting on the elevator. There's a man getting on, and there's an older lady getting on. Well, actually, she's a volunteer or something there at the hospital. And she's dragging Bud along, trying to get in the elevator there. I said, oh my God, I feel sorry for old people. Here she went. I said, you know, you coming over here volunteering to help people. I said, you need to put a smile on your face. I said, I just tell you how it is. I said, if you're trying to encourage other people and cheer them up, you need to get cheered up a little bit yourself. You know, oh, we'll leave that alone and go on right there. So we are a reflection. We are a reflection of God in the earth. We're created just a little lower than the supreme God, Elohim. And that's an awesome thought when you begin to meditate on who you really are. Where did you really come from? Why are you really here? But see, we've been taught, just like this senior citizen I was conversing with today, we've been taught to expect things to begin to decline when you get past the peak. I don't know where the peak is now. They tell me it might be even in their 30s. I don't know. Prime, when is prime time? So we're taught this, and we follow in line with all of that, because as a man thinks in his heart, that's the way he is. As he thinks in his consciousness, that's the way he is. If you think that your body is going to begin to fall apart when you get a little age on you, that's exactly what will happen. If you think things are going to go downhill, it shall go downhill. If you think you can live a vibrant, productive life, and that God can use you to still be productive in the church and still be bearing fruit in old age, and you can live a satisfying old age, then, hey, let's tap into that. Let's believe that rather than the things that we're taught by man. Man's just telling us what he thinks. This lady today was telling me about, you know what happens with people who gets old? I said, no, you know what happens to people who gets old, because man has told you that. And you're just getting in line and agreeing with what man has told you. Man did not create me. God created me. So I need to listen to the Creator. He's the boss man. We need to listen to the boss man and find out what he said about us. So I am responsible for my own thoughts. Yeah. Now that's powerful, because I could listen to what everybody's saying. I could listen to what everybody's saying. But I'm responsible for my thoughts, not their thoughts. Their thoughts will not put me into captivity unless I allow them to. I don't have to give faith to what they're saying. I don't have to give faith to what my physician is saying. Are you with me or not? Are we okay? We're on this. Okay. So there's some things that I need to correct in my thinking. And that's what I was doing with Sister Evelyn today. I wanted to find out where she was. Do you want to go and be with your husband that you are grieving for? Or do you want to stay here, enjoy your grandchildren? She said, I want to stay here and enjoy my grandchildren. I said, okay. Now see, what I was doing was seeing if I need to correct any of her thinking. I haven't been able to impart much of the word into her. I've not known her that long. But I just believe that as you listen to stuff like this, last evening, do you remember what I said about David's prayer when he prayed, God, create in me a clean heart? David said, oh God, create in me a clean heart. Paul said, if any man be in Christ, he's a new creation. And in this new creation, it wouldn't have been a good God act if he hadn't give you a clean heart. Amen. See what I'm saying? So we'll go back there and we pull some of those prayers, and we think we still have to relive some of that stuff. It's a done deal. It's a done deal. I said it's a done deal. Amen. We have been created in the image and likeness of God. We've been recreated now. We're back in the image. We have a clean heart. We have a completed heart. We have a pure mind. We have a perfected heart. We have the mind of Christ. My God, this stuff just overwhelms me as I begin to bombard my mind into this thinking. So why would I not want to correct my thinking if I want to live a long, satisfying life? Amen. And if you don't do something about it, you won't be here a long, satisfying life. There'll be some slow walking and some sad singing. That's the way it goes, and I'll make me a little extra money. I'll do your funeral. And I'll tell them where you went, even had to lie. But if we're not careful, I'm glad I have a clean heart. If we're not careful, we will believe the lie. And when you believe the lie, your body will follow that lie all the way to the grave. Do you understand what I'm saying? When you believe the lie. Well, what is the lie? The lie is, your body wears out. You never know. Do you ever think about Sarah?
Yeah.
How old was she when she got pregnant? 90-year-old. Boy, she hadn't been listening to lies. Somebody been, you know. But you check the people, you know. Of course, Malcolm says it has all to do with your diet. Well, I don't know. It has a lot to do with your diet on how long you're going to live on the earth. I think a lot has to do with what you believe about God, what you believe about yourself, rather than believing what these other people are talking, which most of the time and many times is just a lie. And I have to correct my thinking. I have to get out of that mode of thinking like they're thinking, because what's happening could be terminal if something doesn't happen. I'm reading about a lady now. She fell and she really injured herself. And physician says it's fatal. We can't help her. She asked for a Bible. This is new to her. She asked for a Bible, and they brought a Bible to her. And she was reading one of the miracles of Jesus, and the power of God came on her, and she was instantly healed. Now, that stuff like that amazes me. She had a desire for the Bible. I was ministering to a young man today, 19 years of age. He'd never been to church. But he said something to me. He said, you know, for the first time, he said, I have a desire to read the Bible, and I've bought me a Bible. I said, oh, sit down just a minute. Let me talk to you. I said, do you know God put a seed in you about getting a Bible and begin to read a Bible? Because I said the natural person doesn't want to read the Bible. The natural man, he doesn't want anything to do with spiritual things. I said, God's hand is already coming upon you, young man. I said, God has a plan and God has a purpose for your life. And what he's doing right now, he's beginning to start you on that journey. You're headed on a spiritual journey. I said, you just obey. I said, just start reading Gospel John and just begin to read and read and read all you can and just see the next step that God is going to take you to. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not natural for a person that is not a Christian to have a desire to read the Bible unless God has stirred that heart a little bit. So that encouraged me about this young man, that the hand of God is coming upon him and God's going to help him. It's just exciting now to see where he's going to move to in his next move with the Lord. So my word to you is just be careful who you listen to. Be careful what you listen to. For God's sakes, don't listen to losers. They don't have anything to offer you except loss. Listen to the winners. Talk to somebody that's overcome cancer. Talk to somebody that's went through back surgery and was supposed to die 3 or 4 times, but he survived that. Talk to somebody like that. Talk about how they came through. And talk about what God did and what God said to them. Talk about people that are, what do we call, survivors.
Amen.
Talk about survivors. Talk to survivors. And learn how. Learn all you can about God. And this little lady started a whole movement that's based on the healing movement just because she wanted a Bible. She started reading one of the miracles of Jesus. And while just reading that story about Jesus healing that old boy, the power of God just came on her and she was instantly healed and got up and started meditating the miracles of Jesus. So God can get you in a position. The physician says we can't help you, but God moved her into another position where she was helped and healed by the power of God. So be careful where you get your information from. If you want to live a long, healthy, vibrant, productive, satisfying life. And that's what I want to do. We have the living Christ inside of us. I asked you a few weeks back what you thought about that. What does that mean? Christ in you, the hope of glory. I don't have full knowledge of that. But I know there's more there than what man has taught us. There's more there than what the theologians have told us. There's something about this Christ, this anointing, this life now invading and coming to live in us. Notice, if you will, one verse, just let me quote it to you. It's Hebrews 10:14. For by one offering he has perfected forever them that are sanctified. This is revealing, that's Hebrews 10:14. This is revealing the perfect man. You ever see yourself as a perfect man? Isn't that an awesome thought? What are you talking about, Pastor? I'm talking about how to live a long, satisfying life. Change your views of God and your views of yourself. Begin to see yourself as perfected because of the blood of Jesus, because of the cross of Christ, and because Christ is in you. There's nothing you can do to perfect yourself. He has accomplished this. Now, what I do is I'm coming in alignment. I talked with a lady today upstate North Carolina, and she said she was wanting prayer. I said, well, what do you want me to pray with? She said, I want you to pray that my body would come in alignment with God. I said, okay. And I think what she might have been saying, pray for my thinking to come in alignment with the truth of God. You see? We get our thinking in line with the truth of God, then God can do some things in our life. Truth is what sets us free. So this is how I prayed for her, that God would align her with His truth and bring her body in alignment with that. See, our body has to be brought into alignment with truth, not a lie. My father-in-law left the earth at 94, but dear God, if he got around you and he heard you grunt, he'd say, I feel sorry for old people. He was 94 and he felt sorry for old people. You know? That's a good thing. That's what I told that lady, that old lady trying to get on that elevator. I said, God, I feel sorry for old people. Look at you. I said, dear God, you come over to the hospital supposed to cheer folk up. And I said, well, you don't cheer anybody up like you are. Don't come in my room if I need you. You know, sometimes I should be more political correct, I guess. I don't know. But this is a perfect creation of God. If what Jesus did for you at Calvary did not perfect you, did not give you a clean heart, renew a right spirit in you, did not give you the mind of Christ, did not give you the gift of righteousness, then God Himself blew it.
Thank you for joining us. My prayer for you this week is that you have made Jesus Lord of your life. If not, I pray that you would have a personal visitation from Him this week in which you do accept Him as Lord of your life. Thank you, and we will see you next week.
Thank you for watching Christ the King Church. Follow us on Facebook, and you can also see our sermons published on YouTube.